Hello and welcome here from Germany. My name is Martin Trollop and today we're going to talk about the 28 to 75mm lens from Tamron, brand new for Sony cameras. As a long-time Sony shooter, I'm really looking forward to having new lenses available for the Sony system. Sony is already producing fabulous lenses for their own system, but Sigma and Tamron are starting now to fill up the whole portfolio of lenses. So this lens is the start for Tamron, having Sony native E-mount lenses, and I can say it's a quite good start. Very important for every review, especially here in Germany and the European Union, is always to say and to clearly say what is the financial fact. I was not paid to do this review. Tamron sent me this Sony E-mount lens as a press lens. So it came 2 or 3 days ago and it'll probably leave today or tomorrow. Actually, I was paying the normal price as every photographer does for the G-mount lenses, G-Master lenses, and I do have bought both lenses, the 24 to 70 f4 and the 24 to 70 f2.8 G-Master. So just to make it clear, this is press, this is actually Amazon bought here in Germany. I know every viewer wants to know how good the lens really is, but let's talk 1 minute before we start with the actual lens comparison about good and bad. What is good? What is bad? What is the definition of good? There are so many photographers, so many colleagues out there. They're having different sets of needs. They have different jobs. They have different amount of money. So you can look at a lens at a different point of view. Someone looks at it and says, okay, this is a very good lens because it's low price and high quality. And another photographer looks at the lens and says, okay, this could be like 10% or 15% better quality, no matter how much the price is. So we have to look at different sets. First of all, I'm more kind of a fixed focal length photographer. I do have a lot of zooms, as I was telling you about this one, but those zoom lenses are kind of for me, the boring lenses. Sorry to say that. Second point would be Tamron's aim. Tamron didn't aim at the maximum. I have here the Zeiss Otus, and Zeiss Otus, they aim for the maximum. This is a medium format lens being produced for full frame sensors. Tamron produced a lens which is low price, but the highest available quality. That was their aim. And let's see if they really got that aim into a lens or if they failed producing one. We did shoot a lot of pictures the last days. I'd say around 4,000 shots in different photo shootings. Some of the shots or some of the scenes we used for the lens you already saw in the intro. And why we did this has a special reason. Because we are not a laboratory. We don't have a laser measurement system. We do it kind of a strange photographic way. First of all, it's my experience. It's the kind of feeling I have when retouching the final shots, when looking at the images, when seeing coming all together. And the second one is we try to do very natural test shots. By the way, there is a raw download file on our blog. You can just download all the raw files we are going to talk about in a few seconds. So if the images are blended in too short, or if you want to have a look at them really in patience, then download the raw files and you'll have all the data and all the information we collected a couple of days ago. There's one specific point I just have to mention. We chose European money to take the sample shots off. This is kind of a stupid idea because Photoshop is not allowing to open money for pictures showing money. So you have to use Lightroom or Bridge instead. But the reason why we used money to take the test shots is that we actually don't have anything which is more fine, more textured and more detailed as those special banknotes being printed by the official government printers. They have so much detail in it. It's a perfect object to take pictures of when you have to look at the lens and their quality. So you won't be able to open the lens shots in Photoshop, but you have the ability to look at them in 100%, in 200% inside Bridge or Lightroom or even Capture One. Let's start with the quality comparison. Quality, and I mean optical quality, is a kind of key preference for every lens. So, those three lenses, and there was a fourth lens we looked at. It's the Zeiss Otus. I know it's very unfair, but we did it anyways. All the test shots were made with the 7R Mark III, so like the newest camera model and the highest resolution camera model Sony has. So 42 megapixels, and this is kind of a hard thing to get for a lens which is, I guess, 800 or 900 euros at the moment. So let's see how the lens is in overall quality. If you look at the center sharpness and compare it with the 24 to 72.8 G Master lens, the lens is really high quality. Actually, I can slightly see a small advantage of the G Master lens. If you look at the wide angle end, you can see that the G Master is a bit sharper. If you see or look at the 75 and the 70mm lens end, you'll see that the Tamron is nearly as sharp, or actually as sharp as the Sony lens, the G Master lens. Next one would be the outside, the corner sharpness. We positioned the banknote really right into the corner, and corners are always critical for lenses. So corner sharpness is the hardest you can have, especially on a wide angle lens. So when you look at the corner sharpness, actually the Tamron seems to be a bit better than the G Master lens, and this is quite astonishing. By the way, if anyone is concerned about our test shots, we do a manual focus in 100% view. We do it several times for each shot, and then we select the best shot out of the series of shots. So if we do have an error of focusing or stuff like that, this is erased by the next turn and next turn, and then we look at the results and take the sharpest one. So we try not to have any errors. Everyone is doing errors all the time, but we try not to. Okay, very interesting comparison would be the Zeiss Otus lens against the, and here it is, the Tamron lens. It's kind of a crazy comparison because this lens costs like 5 or 6 or 7 times the amount of money the Tamron lens costs. But anyways, it's kind of our reference lens. It's a German quality. I don't know any other lens which is better than the Otus, and so we always have a look at this direct comparison. So how good a lens is with us in Koller Garz here in Germany is always the question, how close does it come to the Zeiss Otus? And when you look at the images, the Zeiss Otus does look quite a bit sharper. It does look quite a bit sharper, but it doesn't look 8 or 9 times the amount of money sharper than the Tamron lens. The Tamron lens is really sharp as hell. So also the comparison against the Otus shows that we are in a position of sharpness, of optical quality, which is so damn high. In case you're wondering, also the G Master lens is kind of in the middle of the two. So you have the Tamron, and then very close by the G Master lens, and then the Otus on top. So this is kind of our result. If you would ask me which lens is the winner, if you compare the price, the Tamron is far off in front of everyone else. If you just look at the pure quality, the Zeiss Otus, but this is unfair, so then the G Master lens would win, especially on the wide angle lens and on the wide angle side. So, next point, size and weight. And I have to look that it's the same distance, so no optical. The size is amazing. I was unboxing, by the way, here the box is. I was unboxing the lens, the Tamron lens, and well, I was shocked. I was thinking that they sent me in like the wrong lens. This seems like a travel zoom in the size, and I was used to the G Master, and the G Master is this is kind of a lot of glass. When you look at this also the feel and touch, it feels like very light, very light. We shouldn't forget that the Tamron is also a 2.8 lens, so the aperture is what makes the size comparison so amazing. The build quality, I'd say build quality is better on the G Master, but attention, this is very, very subjective. The problem with the build quality is also the size and the weight. Something bigger always makes kind of the impression that it's also built better. So the less weight you have, the less build quality feeling you get. So I don't know if the build quality is less, but if I have both in my hands, this looks so much, this feels so much, and this is kind of light. But that would be, I guess, the main point for Tamron and a lot of users. We have small mirrorless cameras. We all go for, yeah, this is such a nice camera, it's so small, and then their lens is like this. And the size and the weight of the camera doesn't matter from that point anymore. I think a lot of photographers want this lens because it's so light and it's so small. So in size and in weight, this is the absolute winner of all, kind of like here. Build quality, if you have a fetish for build quality, stay with the G Master or better. with the autos. Okay, next comparison would be chromatic aberrations. The chromatic aberrations, very, very, very important for us producing pictures on a professional use. Both the G Master lens already is very, very good. I was thinking before we did the test shots that the Tamron lens would have more chromatic aberrations, but it doesn't. We shot a lot of pictures in a couple of days in sundown, and we were on a bridge kind of style, and the bridge itself against the bright, bright, bright sky would have been the perfect situation to get chromatic aberrations. But the chromatic aberrations with the Tamron lens, they are, I think you can't get rid of them at all, but I would say it's zero. It's not really visible, even in wide angle, on the wide angle side. Distortion, especially in wide angle, very important. The distortion is not there. Again, we had the bridge. The bridge has has good lines to check distortion. And normally you should check it on a grid, like on the table here. But I don't want to make the whole review too long. So in my personal point of view, the Tamron lens doesn't have a lot of distortion. A little bit, yes, but not a lot. Probably the reason is because it doesn't have 24mm as a G Master, because it does have 28mm, and that's not like a lot of wide angle. It's more in between wide angle and normal lens. You know what I mean. AF performance, very important. I never know how to check AF performance. The problem with AF performance is it's always related to the amount of light you have. It's always related to the kind of pictures you take. It's always related to the camera you use. If you're using an A9, it's probably gonna be better than with an old Alpha 7R Mark II. So AF does have to be a very personal point of view. I didn't see any, and I didn't feel any difference between the G Master and this lens. And this is the test. This is the review. I didn't feel any difference, not at all, nothing. But I didn't picture like running animals and stuff. I just took some shots of beautiful women, and they were not running away from me. So probably my opinion in autofocus performance is not as valid as it could be when taking pictures of a far more complicated motive, which is moving in different directions. I was asked about the video performance. We do a lot of video, and as I mentioned right now, I can see not any difference between the G Master and the Tamron lens, also in video mode. Okay, I was up to this point very, very, very positive about the Tamron, and this is indeed the whole review. I love what Tamron produced. I love it when I look at the price, and my purse does love it a lot. And this is actually one of the cheapest, best lenses I've had in my hands in a couple of years. Is cheap? Oh, Tommy, we have an English guy standing behind the camera. Is cheap a good word? No, it's not a good word. Cheap is it negative, like in German? Is it? It's neutral.
Or you can say affordable also.
Affordable, yeah, okay. That's because in Germany cheap means kind of something negative, and I didn't want to say that. But this is kind of a low price lens, a very low price lens at a very high quality. So Tamron did indeed get all the aims into one lens they intentionally had. Okay, by the way, there are some negative points, and I would love to end with them because I was so positive about the lens. I want to end the whole review with the negative points. Why didn't they do the button here? I love the Sony lenses for having those buttons. Sometimes they have even 3. And I have 2 hands. One is taking pictures and the other one is just holding the camera. And that's a waste of fingers. If you have 1 or 2 buttons at the lens, this makes it so much easier to handle functions and to handle, especially IIF. I use IIF a lot because I'm taking pictures of people. I'm a portrait photographer. And nothing at all. Even this small switch, AF, MF, AF, MF. I know you can put it on some special button, customized button function, whatever on the camera, and this is not hard to do. But when I'm taking pictures with neutral density filters, and I'm kind of I would love to have a button, just plain like this. I hate it when I go into menus or to different buttons, and I have different Sony cameras, and then they all have to have the different settings on different buttons to switch on and switch off the focus. And especially with the mirrorless camera, you need an AF button a lot of times, especially when taking shooting movies. And then there would be the factor we didn't talk about a lot until now. This lens is 24 to 70. This is 28 to 75. I'm not a constructor of lenses. I think it's easier to put 5mm at the high end of a lens than to make 4mm less at the wide angle end. I think this could be the one point which is 1, unfair in the comparison at all, and 2, which would make a big difference in practical life. 28 for me is not a real wide angle. It's wide, but it's not a wide angle. 24, this is where wide angle starts. So in a lot of situations when you only have 24 or 28, this can make a big difference. And okay, perhaps I'm starting to because I bought this lens and I don't have this one, and I have to admit that this is really, really, really amazing sharp. I have to get some argumentation into my head that this is really better, or at least I did spend a lot more money, but the money was spent well. 24 is not 28. So this makes a lot of difference. If you need it, you just have to get rid of a lot more money. If you don't need it, this is the lens you have to buy. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope it's not too long, sorry. I have always problems keeping my whole reviews short, and in English it's even more complicated, and I hope my English was good enough that you understood all the points I tried to mention. Anyways, thumbs up for Tamron. They did a great job. I didn't expect this. I didn't see that coming, and if you look at the size, the weight, the price is very important, then it's a phenomenal lens. And thumbs up to Sony, because Sony is building so good cameras and is getting better every week, and is producing better and better cameras every month. That Tamron and Sigma is starting to produce lenses, and I think they will produce more because the lens is very important, but it always fits to a camera. So thumbs up for both companies. Great job. I think this one and the 7R Mark and the 7.3, not the R, the normal, the 7.3 would be a beautiful all day, every day time camera. Okay, stop it here. Wait, I'm just talking.